guess we're going to go ahead and get started. Today we're going to need 2 blocks and a blanket. And the blocks you'll put at the upper corners of your mat, the blanket somewhere off to the side, and then we are going to start standing at the top of our space. And when you find yourself standing at the top of your space, I just want you to take a moment to make sure your feet are about hip distance apart. And then you can either soften the gaze or close the eyes. But I want you to just see how it feels to be in the body at this point in time. And then you're going to just take a few little shoulder circles, rolling the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Let's do about 3 or 4 of those. Feeling how that feels, seeing if there's any cranks that are being cracked as you're doing this. And after you've done 3 or 4 one way, you'll go 3 or 4 the other direction. Nice job. And then after you've gone an even number both sets, go ahead and release the movement there. Shake out the hands if you need to, the arms or hips or anything that feels like you need to just give yourself permission to settle. Fantastic. And then go ahead, and if the eyes are not closed, go ahead and close the eyes. And I want you to bring your awareness down into your feet and spread your feet wide into the floor. Notice what it feels like to really root your hips down into your thighs, into the calves, into the feet, to stack the shoulders over your hips and let the head float directly on the top of the spine. And then gently exhale all the breath from your mouth and take a big breath in and another audible exhale out. And last one, big breath in. Audible exhale out. Go ahead and close your lips. Inhale. Start to float your arms out to the side and as high as they want to go. And then exhale down. And you'll do 5 of these. And gradually the arms will get a little bit bigger. The breath will get a little bit deeper. And you're just noticing what it feels like to really follow the breath, to connect into the movement. We should have one more after this. Deepening the breath. Okay. The next time your arms are up and overhead, go ahead and pause there. Grab your left wrist. Reach your left hand up a little bit further, and then exhale, little baby side bend towards your right. Breathing into the left armpit, rooting down into the left foot. Next in-breath, come back up through center. Switch sides, grab the right wrist, reach the right arm up a little bit higher. And then exhale, little baby side bend to the left. Next inhalation, go ahead and come up through center. As you exhale, open the arms out and then hinge forward at your hips, coming forward to a forward fold. Now, when you get down here, you might bring your hands to your blocks. You might bring the hands to the floor. Well, let your head be super duper 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 heavy. So your chin draws into your chest, your head careens forward. And then from here, just bend your left knee. Notice how that feels to just bend the left knee. And then you'll inhale and straighten your left leg, and then exhale and bend just your right knee. And then you'll inhale and you'll come back through center, straightening the right leg. And this time you'll bend just the left knee again. And then you'll crawl your hands over towards your right side of the mat. Keep bending into your left knee, drawing your chin to your chest and feeling how that feels. On your next in-breath, you'll walk the hands through center and then walk your hands all the way over to the left. Keep the left knee bent and feel how that feels. Chin to chest, dropping your head quite a bit. Next inhale, come back through center, straighten both legs. And then exhale, bend just your right knee. And then you'll walk your hands over to your left. And you just take a few breaths there, feeling how that feels. On your next in-breath, walk the hands through center. And then exhale, walk your hands over to your right, keeping your right knee bent, shifting your pelvis to the left, dropping your chin to your chest, and just feeling how that feels on your legs. Great. Next in-breath, come back through center. This time, as you exhale, bend both of your knees, and you'll slowly roll up your spine bone by bone, and see how slow you can make this to come all the way up to stand. When you find yourself in vertical, take a moment to really, again, square or center shoulders over hips, hips over ankles, ears over shoulders, and then inhale, sweep your arms up and out to the side, and exhale back down. And you'll do that 3 more times. And so we're just finding our breath. And you might notice that you can extend the breath a little bit more. Nice. 2 more on your own. Seeing if the breath can make the arms go even higher naturally. Nice. And last one. This time, keep your arms up and overhead, and then turn your left palm to face the ceiling. Grab your left wrist once again. Inhale, reach up through the left arm, and exhale, little baby side bend towards the right, rooting down into your left foot. Inhale up through center, switch the clasp, turn the right palm to the sky, grab your right wrist, and exhale, little baby side bend to the left. Nice work. Inhale, come back up through center. This time, exhale, release both hands. Bring your hands now to your low back. Interlace your fingers at the webbing. Draw the shoulders up towards the ears. Draw the shoulder blades together on the back. And then you'll start to hinge forward at your hips. And once you come forward, you'll notice like maybe halfway is where you stop and you have to release hands to blocks. Maybe your head comes all the way down towards your shins, and then your arms can reach up and overhead. If the arms go up and overhead, hug the shoulder blades together on the back and just feel the weight of the arms, maybe reaching up towards the sky or maybe over your head. And you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing what that feels like. Gently draw the hands back to your pelvis. Slide them down your legs. And then you'll inhale and halfway lift here. And exhale, fold all the way in. Bend your knees and slowly roll up the spine bone by bone, vertebra by vertebra. Nice work. When you find yourself vertical, head over shoulders, shoulders over hips, take a moment to just notice how the breath is working now. Bring your hands in front of you, interlace your fingers at the webbing, and then send the heels of your hands forward. Keep that. You're going to round through your spine just a little bit, drawing your head towards your hands, and then push your hands up towards the sky. Fantastic. Now with your hands up towards the sky, again, you're going to take that little side bend. So we'll go over to the right, pressing out through the index finger of your thumbs even more. Inhale, coming up, and then exhale over to the left. Again, pressing through the index fingers and thumbs even more. Nice work. Inhale, come up through center. This time as you exhale, cactus the arms, hinge at the hips, come forward all the way to Uttanasana. Great. From here, inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, fold all the way in. 2 more times. Each time, see if you can broaden through the collarbones, reach the pubic bone away from the crown, crown away from the pubic bone. Nice work. Last time, inhale, halfway lift. And then this time, as you exhale, fold all the way in. See if you can plant your hands on your blocks or floors. Inhale, bend your knees, reach your heart and sternum forward, sitting your butt as low as you can. Exhale, draw your belly away from your thighs. Inhale, sweep your arms back as you bring your chest up, weird little Utkatasana. Turn your palms to face the floor. Hug your shoulder blades together on your back. And then you'll inhale, sit a little lower as you sweep your arms forward for like little zombies serving a tray. And then exhale, sweep your arms back. And we've got 4 of these. And we're just sitting low and we're inhaling and we're breathing. And we're seeing how we're going. Okay, 2 more. Inhale, sweeping the arms forward, sitting as low as you can. Exhale, sweeping the arms back, hugging shoulder blades together. This last one, you'll inhale, sweep the arms forward and come all the way up to stand. And then exhale, cactus the arms and bring the hands alongside your hips. Take a moment to check in. Close your eyes or soften the gaze. Notice how the weight is on your feet now. Notice how the breath is in the body now. Fantastic. Let's move on. Starting at the top of your head, you're going to roll down your spine bone by bone. So top of the head starts to drop. Chin comes towards the chest, your upper back round, your middle back starts to lift. Your tailbone still keeps reaching towards the floor as you slowly roll down to the floor. Very, very, very slowly. Fantastic. Once you get all the way to the bottom, you'll feel your hip bones or your pelvis roll over your thigh bones, and just notice how that feels. And then inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. From here, let's bring our hands to our blocks. You're going to bend both of your knees, and you're going to take 3 giant steps back with your right foot. So 3 giant step back with your right foot till you find yourself in a low lunge. If at this point you're like, yeah, Jessica, I don't need the blocks, you can take your hands off the blocks. Great. And from here, you'll just pause and you'll breathe. You'll reach your left inner knee thigh thing forward. You'll reach your right inner thigh thing back and just feel this nice stretch happening on the inside edges of your thighs. From there, root down into your right hand. Draw your left hand to the outside edge of your left knee. Inhale, reach your heart and sternum forward. Then exhale, scoop the low belly away from the left thigh and start to rotate your rib cage towards the left. Now notice that as you're here, push down into your right hand even more. Draw the right shoulder blade onto the back body and see if you can lean your heart into the shoulder blade. And you might choose to stay there, or you might reach your left arm up towards the sky, and you'll just take a few breaths here. Noticing how this feels, long broadness across the chest, active energy in the legs. Nice work. Next, in breath, both hands come back to the floor or blocks. And then you're going to take 3 steps forward with your back leg until you end up in forward fold. So 1, 2, 3, Uttanasana, top of mat. Fantastic. And then when you find yourself there, just take a moment to notice what you notice between the right side and the left side. And then we'll move on. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, fold all the way in. Fantastic. Slide a block between your shin bones on the first or second setting, your choice. Inhale, reach your heart forward. Exhale, bend your knees quite a bit. Inhale, heart lengthens forward, arms sweep back, chest comes up, weird Utkatasana. Now turn your palms to face the floor, hug the shoulder blades together on the back, and really squeeze your block. Inhale, sweep the arms forward, sit your bum a little lower. And then exhale, sweep the arms back. Got just 2 of these on this side. So this one, inhaling, sitting forward, arms reach forward and up. And exhale, sweep back. This time we'll come all the way to stand. So inhale, reach forward, come all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. And then exhale, cactus the arms, hands come down towards the hips. Fantastic. Inhale, take a breath here. This time as you exhale, chin to chest, roll down the spine once again, bone by bone by bone by bone. Taking your time, finding the lubrication in the joints as you roll over the hips. Once you get to the depth of your forward fold, release your block. And then inhale, halfway lift. Hands stay on blocks or floor, bend both knees, and then take 3 steps back with your left leg. Once you find your left leg back in that low lunge, you might figure out whether or not you want to keep those blocks or lose the blocks. And then you'll reach forward through your inner right knee, inner right thigh, reach back through your inner left thigh, inner left knee. Root down through your left hand. Bring your right hand to the outside edge of your right thigh. Inhale, reach your heart and sternum forward. And then exhale, start to scoop the belly on the right side and rotate the rib cage towards the right. Now, check in with your left hand as though you're opening a jar of pickles. Really rotate, externally rotate that left arm, hand, shoulder. You'll feel the shoulder blade come onto the back. Hug the shoulder blade onto the back, lean the heart back into the shoulders, and you might choose to stay there, or you might lift up through your right arm, and you'll just pause, and you'll breathe. Open through the chest, maybe head leans back a little bit, legs stay active. On your next in-breath, lower your right hand back to the floor or blocks. And then you're going to take 3 steps forward with that back leg. 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. Once you find yourself there, again, inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold in. Plant a block in between your shin bones once again. Inhale, sit your pelvis low, Utkatasana, chair pose. Fantastic. Now, this time we're going to squeeze our block a lot. And I want you to see if you can squeeze your block so much that you can lift your heels. Squeeze your block so much that you can lift your heels. Fantastic. And then lower your heels back down. And we'll do that 2 more times. Squeeze the block, lift the heels. Squeeze the block, lower the heels. Last one. Squeeze the block, lift the heels. And squeeze the block, lower the heels. This time, inhale, stand up, reach up, look up. And then exhale, cactus the elbows, bring the hands alongside the hips. Fantastic. Let's move on. Inhale, circle, sweep the arms up and overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, cactus the elbows, hinge forward at the hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. When you find yourself forward, remove your blocks. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step your right foot long and back. Step your left foot long and back, plank pose. Now, just as we did a little bit earlier, reach your inner leg so far back so your legs are active. Hug your outer hips, push down through your arms and lift up through your armpits. Next, in-breath, shift your weight forward, hug the shoulder blades together on the back, and lower yourself slower than you want to, all the way to your abdomen. Nice work. Once you're on your belly, extend the tops of the feet onto the floor. Draw your shoulders onto your back. Push down into your hands and lightly pull your sternum and heart forward and through. And then exhale, lower down. And you've got 2 more of those on your own. And I encourage you to take your time to really breathe, to find the strength of the upper back, the activation of the legs. Nice work, guys. Awesome sauce. After you've done a total of 3, go ahead and lower all the way down. Curl your toes under. Inhale, come up to hands and knees. Now, at this point, you might want to pad your knees with blankets if your knees are sensitive. Otherwise, don't bother, but we'll make our way to a tabletop position. And once you find yourself in tabletop, you'll take a big breath in. As you exhale, reach your rib cage to the right and then up behind you. Inhale the rib cage to the left and down towards the floor. So we're making barrels. Inhale to the right and up behind you. Exhale to the left and forward. And so you've got 4 of those. And I want you to just notice how much you can really activate the rib cage. So you're not moving the hips so much. You're starting the movement from the ribs. So a few of you mentioned having shoulder stuff. There you go, Steve, going on. And if you can move it from the ribs, we can start to open up the muscles that are there. And after you've done a total of 4, you'll go ahead and switch directions. So you'll then inhale and go to the left. Exhale up and back behind you. Inhaling towards the right and exhaling down. And so you just do about 4 and you're just noticing how that feels. Let your head do whatever it feels like it wishes to do. Nice. And after you've done 4, you'll come to center and you'll just do 4 cats and cows. And notice how that feels now. We've done a lot of things to try to warm up the vertebra. So now notice what 4 normal cats and cows feel like. How much more, there you go, Sandy, flexion can you get into the spine? Nice, Robin. Nice, Julie. Nice, Jenny. How much flexion? Yeah. Can you get into the spine? And then how much extension? That's the cow shape, really dropping the belly, lifting the hips and the heels. Great. All right. Let's go ahead and come to a neutral spine here. Walk your knees, ankles, and shins together. Curl both sets of toes under, then walk your pelvis back to sit on your heels. When you find yourself in fun old toe squat, you might need to make sure the pinky toes are underneath you. And then we're going to bring our arms in front of us, grab our left wrist with our right hand, and you're going to take 4 of those weird palm flat circles that we all love so much, keeping the fingers together and making as much of a circle as we can. And then after you've gone 4 one way, go ahead and go the other way. Try and keep the movement completely in the wrist and not in the forearm. And then once you've done 4 on one side, go ahead and switch to the other side. So again, palm comes towards you, goes over to the right, goes down to the floor, over to the left, and up. And you're just doing 4 of those circles that way. And once you've done 4 one direction, you'll switch directions. Okay. And then from there, you'll circle both hands. Maybe shake out both wrists. Come forward onto hands and knees and pitter-patter both sets of toes. And then take a counter stretch if you'd like. We're all moving at slightly different paces. Fantastic. And then when you're ready, you'll find yourself forward to hands and knees and then make your way back to downward facing dog. Great. Now, from down dog, inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. And you'll just pause here. I want you to hug your inner thighs together. And then there you go, Sandy. Lift your inner right leg a little bit higher. Yeah. Feel the stretch as you reach your left heel down to the floor. Take a breath in. On your next exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Nice. From here, hands come back to your blocks. And then from here, you'll just inhale and gaze forward. And then exhale, straighten your front leg long. And you've got about 4 of these. So you're just pulsing in and out of this shape, bending the front knee, and then straightening the front leg. And just noticing how that's working in your body. Making sure that when you bend the front knee, the foot and the knee are in alignment. And when you straighten the front leg, you're pulling the outer right hip straight back. Okay. This next time you straighten your front leg, go ahead and stay there. Walk both blocks so they're underneath your shoulders. Draw your outer right hip back as you lift up through your inner left thigh, and then see if you can find a flat back. So reach your pubic bone back, put your heart forward and your crown forward. Yeah, nice job. Nice work there, Julie. And then you just pause and you breathe. And some of you will just stay right here, happy as a clam. Some of you might start to peel the sole of your right foot up and away from the floor and pause and breathe there. Some of you might choose to stay there. Some of you might externally rotate that right thigh so your toes point towards the right. And you just pause and you breathe. Nice work. Next in breath, if the foot is externally rotated, bring it back to neutral, lower the sole to the floor, bend the front knee, shift the weight forward, plant both palms on the mat, and step yourself back to downward facing dog. And you just pause and you breathe. What's the difference between the right side and the left side? Great. Let's try the other side. Inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. Again, hug your inner thighs together. Nice there, Jenny. And then lift up through the inner left thigh as you reach your right foot to the floor even more. Nice. Exhale, draw the left foot quietly between your hands. Nice. Hands come back to your blocks or floor. And then inhale, gaze forward. Yeah, there you go, Robin. And then exhale, straighten the front leg long. And you've got 4 more of these, and you're just noticing how slow can you make this. The slower you make it, the more you give your body the opportunity to really go through your full range of motion. You also give yourself the opportunity to deepen and extend the breath. Nice, Julie. Julie, when you come forward for me, keep reaching back through your right foot. Yeah, do you notice how that changes the stretch? Okay. Awesome. The next time you straighten your left leg, go ahead and stay there. Walk your blocks so they're underneath your shoulders. And so some of you will just stay here. We'll root down through our big toe mound of our left foot. Draw the outer left hip back as you lift up through the inner right thigh. And then see if you can reach your pubic bone back, but your sternum forward to find a long spine parallel-ish to the floor. Yeah, there you go, Jenny. And then you might stay here. You might start to peel the sole of your left foot away from the floor, all 5 toes coming up. You might stay there. You might externally rotate that left thigh, so maybe your left toes peek towards the left. And you just choose what's working best for you. Heart stays open, breath stays deep and full. Great. If the foot is externally rotated, bring it back to neutral. Plant the sole of the foot on the floor. Inhale, bend the knee, shift the weight forward, plant the palms on the mat, and step back to downward facing dog. Great. Listen closely. Inhale here, ripple your spine forward into planks, rolling through the vertebra like we've been doing through most of the class. Yeah. On your next exhale, shift your weight forward, hug the shoulder blades together on the back and lower all the way down to your abdomen. Nice job, guys. From there, you'll inhale and pull forward into a cobra of your choice. So tops of the feet to the floor, maybe hands are close to the body or a little bit wider. Yeah. And then exhale, lower all the way down. Curl the toes under. Your choice, hands and knees or plank. And then make your way back to downward facing dog. Great. And you just take a couple breaths to notice what you notice. How is the body? How is the breath? And how are you? Okay, let's move on. So inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. Again, hug the inner thighs together. Lift up through the inner left thighs. You reach down through the right foot. Exhale, knee to nose. Step your foot quietly between your hands. Pause. Now, from here, I want you to really push down into your front foot and push down into your back foot. Scoop your belly away from your thighs and then see if you can make your hands lighter away from the floor. Haha, there you go. Sweep your arms back alongside your hips. Turn your palms to face down and inhale, come up for crescent lunge. Yeah, buddy people, good job. With your hands back, you'll inhale and then sweep the arms up and overhead. You're good, Sandy. And then you just pause and you breathe there. 3 breaths, 3 steady, stable, full breaths. Fantastic. On your next exhale, hands touch the floor or blocks. Listen closely. Shift your weight forward. Float your right leg parallel to the floor. Warrior 3 standing splits variation. So float the right leg parallel to the floor. Make sure your toes are pointing straight down, hugging those inner thighs together and lifting up through the inner right thigh. Nice work. Listen closely. Bend your left knee. Plant your palms and step back, low lunge, and step back, downward facing dog. Your option to stay right here or inhale and come forward, rippling into plank. Go through a chaturanga, through an up dog or cobra, and back to downward facing dog. Nice modification there, Julie. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice what you notice. Notice what you notice. How's the breath? How's the body? How are you? Great. Let's try the other side. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. Again, hug the inner thighs together to square the hips. Reach up through the right thigh, root down through the left foot. Exhale, right knee to nose. Plant your foot between your hands. Fantastic. Find stability in your front leg and engagement in your back leg. And then start to make your hands a little bit lighter. Scoop your belly away from your front thigh. Sweep your arms back, palms face down, and then inhale, bring the spine up to vertical for crescent lunge. When you're ready and stable, the arms will sweep forward and up, and you'll find yourself in high crescent lunge, and you just take a moment to pause. Take a moment to breathe. Notice if your face is grimacing and see if you can let that go. There we go. And you just pause and you breathe. Exhale, hands touch floor or blocks. Inhale here, shift your weight forward, float your left leg parallel-ish to the floor, little warrior 3-ish, standing splits variation. And then you just pause. Notice how that feels. Very gently bend your right leg, step your left foot back, plant your palms, and then step your right foot back to downward facing dog. Option to stay right here, or inhale, ripple the spine forward into plank. Exhale through your chaturanga or cobra, and inhale, upward facing dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. I said that twice. Please excuse that. Then you just pause and you breathe. Okay. From down dog, listen very closely. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, take 1, 2, 3 many hops to the top of your space. That's fantastic. Once you find yourself there, inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, fold in. Inhale, bend your knees, sit your butt low, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, sit your pelvis a little bit lower. And then inhale, stand up, reach up, look up. And exhale, lower the hands out to the side. Take a moment to soften the gaze or close the eyes and check in. We've been in this shape a lot of times. We started in it. We've repeatedly come back to the shape, but how does it feel now? How is the breath? How is the body? How is your connection to this moment? All right. Go ahead and open the eyes if the eyes are closed. Look down at your blocks and make sure you've got your blocks at the top of your space with enough space for you to be in between your blocks. Okay. Bring your hands to your hips. Bend your knees, and you'll start to lift your left leg up. Cross your left thigh over, maybe tap your left toes onto the block to the right. Maybe wrap the toes all the way behind the back of your right calf. From there, you might open the arms out like a bird, and then give yourself a hug, left arm under, right arm on top. You might double wrap the arms. And we'll just sit here for a few breaths in Garudasana, eagle pose, hugging the outer legs together, lifting the elbows up in line with the tops of the shoulders, and then noticing if you can soften any tension around your neck, your mouth. On your next in-breath, gently unwind. Come back to Tadasana. If you need to shake things out before we do the other side, by all means, do that. And then we'll try that on the other side, so hands come back to your hips. Inhale, bend your knees. As you exhale, start to lift your right leg up. Cross your right thigh over. Maybe the right toes touch the block. Maybe you bend the left knee even more and wrap the right leg behind the back of the left calf. When you're ready, you'll maybe open arms out. Wrap your arms around you, right arm underneath, left arm on top. Maybe take a double wrap of the arms as well. And you just take a few breath cycles here. It's been a while since we've been in Garudasana, so just notice how it's going. Nice work. Next in-breath, gently unwind. Come to stand at the top of your space. You need to shake things out. Shake things out. Okay. Go ahead and look down at your blocks again. I encourage you to turn them to the highest setting this time, but you do whatever works for you. And you might want to step a little further back behind your blocks, like maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches. Hands come back to your hips. Bend your knees. Exhale, float your left leg up. Bend your right knee even more. Cross your left ankle on the top of your right thigh. Start to hinge at your hips, sending your butt back. And you might bring your hands to heart center and hang out here. You might bring your hands to the blocks underneath you. You might bring your hands to the floor, but we're in this figure 4 stretch. You're flexing through your left foot. You're sending your butt really super far back. And then notice what happens if you lift or lower your left thigh knee thing a little bit and find the stretch on your left side body. And you just pause and you breathe and you pause and you breathe. Keep bending into that right knee as best as you can. When you're ready to come out, you'll make the hands light, you'll scoop the belly, and you'll inhale, come back to one-legged Tadasana. Whoa. And then exhale, release the foot down. Again, you need to wiggle things out between sides, wiggle things out. Cool. We'll try things on the other side. So hands back to hips. Inhale, bend your knees. Exhale, use the strength to push down through the floor to lift your right leg up. Go ahead and bend that left knee again, cross the right ankle over and then hinge at the hips, sending your butt back. Hands might then come to heart center where you can allow the elbows to press into the inner right shin, or you might bring your hands to the blocks or the floor underneath you. And again, you're bending into your left knee. You're noticing what happens. Wow, that's fun on this side. If you lift and lower your right knee or hip, and you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're seeing how that's going for you. When you're ready to come out of this shape, you make your hands light, you scoop your belly, you inhale and come all the way up. And then exhale, release that down. Go ahead and shake things out. And then soften the gaze and close the eyes. And let's just take a moment to see how we're doing now. Sometimes a few gentle things can have a profound impact. But in order for them to have that impact, we have to take a moment to pause, to check in, to notice. We all try to do so many cool things in our life, and sometimes their impact isn't known, isn't felt until we slow down just a bit. All right, let's move on. If your gaze is closed, go ahead and open your eyes. Bring your hands to your hips. And I guess because of how we are in Screenland, let's go ahead and bend our knees. And you're going to step your left foot long and back. Now, if you have to take 3 steps, you take 3 steps. If you take 1 step, you take 1 step. That's fine. And then you're going to spin your left foot to the floor and find yourself in warrior 2. So notice how that needs to work out for you to be there. Fantastic. Adjust your feet as necessary so that you can keep sending your inner right thigh thing forward, your inner left thigh thing down and back. And then when you find your legs are stable, go ahead and open out through the arms for Virabhadrasana 2. Nice work. Okay. Take your focus over the center of your front middle finger. And then when you're ready, lower that right forearm to the block or the floor or your thigh, and then extend your left arm alongside your ears for extended side angle. And you just pause and you breathe. You're really trying to lift your right rib cage, roll it forward, and then roll your left rib cage back. And you just notice what that feels like to find that length all along your left side, from left foot through the hip, through the rib cage, through the wrist. Next in-breath, come back up to Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2. Take a moment to pause. Inhale, straighten your front leg long, find yourself in this transitionary pose. And then you'll start to shift your pelvis back as you reach your right arm forward. And then maybe grab your right block. Maybe your right hand comes to the floor or the shin. Great. We're going to pause here. I want you to see if you can, again, push from your right sit bone down to your right big toe. Hug your outer right hip back. Press onto the knife edge of your left foot. Now, again, like we did before, see if you can really root that right hand and externally rotate the right shoulder blade so you feel the shoulder blade holding onto the heart. The heart can lean back into the shoulder. Then lift up through your left arm even more. You might stay there. You might extend your left arm alongside your ears for a long side body stretch, but you just pause and you breathe. Nice work. Next in breath, bring your left hand to your left hip. Turn your gaze to the floor. Bend your front knee. Now this is where our 1 to 3 hops will come in. You're going to slide your right block hand forward thing forward. You're going to shift your weight forward. You might take 3 steps, 1 step, no steps. You're going to find yourself in half moon with your left leg lifted parallel to the floor. Fantastic. Find the lift through the inner left thigh, reach your sternum forward, your tailbone back, and then maybe you might reach your left arm up towards the sky for Ardha Chandrasana. You just pause and you breathe, and you pause and you breathe. On your next exhale, the left hand is going to come to find the block in front of you, and you're going to square your hips to the floor. So both hands on both blocks, both hips squared to the floor. Bend your right leg, that's the supporting leg, as much as you need to start to make your hands light. Swoop your tailbone back, draw your low belly in, and you might hover for a few seconds in Warrior 3. Fantastic. When you're ready, this is going to be fun. Left knee to nose, come all the way up to stand. Whoop. Ha-ha, we did it. Then release your left foot to the floor. Wiggle and shake that out. Those of us experiencing sciatica, I want you to take a moment to pause and notice how you're feeling. That was a lot on one side. Fantastic. And then when we're ready, we'll trial that on the other side. So our hands will come to our hips. You're going to bend your knees, and you're going to take 1 or 3 steps back with that right leg. So find yourself into your high crescent lunge. Yep. Spin your right foot to the floor. And then find yourself in your Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Fantastic. And again, first you're going to start by really focusing on that inner left knee, making sure it is going forward, and then the inner right thigh is going down and back. And once you feel like you've got that all going on, you'll open your arms out into your Warrior 2 position. Bring your gaze over the front middle finger. Yep, and then when you're ready, reach forward, out, and down, and maybe lower that left forearm to the top of left thigh or left hands to block or floor, and then extend your right arm alongside your ears. Now, when you're in this shape, we really want to focus on finding length on our left side ribs. So it's almost like you pull your left ribs forward, they roll under and forward, or sorry, to the top of your space, they roll under and then forward towards the long edge of your mat. And then your top ribs roll back so you can peek underneath that right armpit. Yeah, nice job. Next in breath, return to Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Take a moment to pause there. As you inhale this time, straighten your front leg long, so left leg straightens. Shift your pelvis back towards the right, and then inhale, reach forward through the left hand, lowering left fingers to block, to floor, to shin, whatever works best for you. And then again, find the connection. So from your left hip to your left big toe mound, draw the outer left hip back as you root down through the knife edge of your right foot. Reach your sternum forward. Yep, tailbone back. Now, as best as you can, continue to roll those under ribs forward, the top ribs back, and then you might extend your right arm alongside your ears, finding a nice long stretch from the right hand through the shoulder, through the hip, through the floor. Great. When you're ready, bring your right hand to your right hip. Turn your gaze to the floor. Bend your left knee. Walk your block forward and outside of your left foot, and then 1 to 3 steps, come into your half moon. When you find yourself in that half moon shape, take a moment to lift through that inner right thigh. Draw the pubic bone forward the sternum, forward the tailbone back, and then maybe you might start to lift up through your left arm. Fantastic. When you're ready, lower your right hand to the floor, square your hips. So right hand comes to block, left hand comes to block, square your hips, and then bend the left knee as much as you need to lift the right thigh. Maybe hover the hands a little bit for a few breaths in your Warrior 3 variation. Yeah. And then when you're ready, right knee to nose, come all the way up to stand. Nice job, guys. And then release the right foot, shake everything out. Everything out. And it looks like some of us need a water break, so take a little water break if you need to, but then we'll just take a moment to pause and just see what we notice. Great. Okay. Let's go ahead and do our last pass. So once you find yourself back at the top of your space, go ahead and separate your feet hip distance apart. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hinge at the hips, cactus the arms, forward fold. When your hands touch your blocks or floor, you'll inhale and halfway lift Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step back, plank pose. Cycle through an up dog or cobra, and then you'll make your way back to your downward facing dog. And you'll just take a few breath cycles there, letting the spine elongate. And then from your down dog, go ahead and lower your knees down and take a child's pose for a few breaths. Little child's pose for a few breaths. Great. Let's go ahead and start to walk our hands back and start to walk our chest up. How are we feeling right now in terms of a possible inversion? Is that okay if you go to a wall, Sandy? Is that what you said? Okay. Julie, how about you? Okay. Robin? Thumbs up. Jenny? Thumbs up. Okay. So I'll show two variations. You get to choose whichever one works best for you. The first one will just be dolphin. So if you're going to take it, forearms in prayer, you go back through your cat pose, curl the toes under, walk the knees or walk the feet forward, and you might just hang out there for a few breaths. If you're like, yeah, that's more active than what I want to do right now. The second one would be legs up the wall. So you choose what feels better for you at this point in time. We're just trying to get the head lower than the heart. So if you choose the second one and you're close to a wall, you can always bring your legs up a wall or a couch. That feels super nice. And then some of you will stay here. Some of you might put a block underneath your sacrum and just hang out. But you choose which one works best for you. And we're going to stay there for a few breaths. Robin, I'm curious, when you do that, are you pressing down equally through your left forearm? Okay. Jenny, can you come down and move your camera back just a little bit so I can see you a little bit more? Or is that not possible? It's okay if it's not. Well, that's better. Yeah, that's much better. Great. So Jenny, pause. Before you lift your leg, I want you to think of hollowing your armpits a little bit more and then push. There you go. Keep that. Now try to lift a leg because it keeps your shoulder girdle more engaged on your back. Yeah. Now hollow the armpits more. And I want you to think of sliding your tailbone up the wall. Yeah. And then hug your inner thighs together. Big toes touch. Yeah. Nice. Nice. Look at you go. Awesome. And then Julie, while you're there, see if you can draw the shoulder blades onto your back a little bit more. Yeah, there you go. Cool. And those that are in the more active inversion, once you are done, you're going to take a few breaths in child's pose just to let the vestibular system catch up with you. Well, not yet, Sandy. I love how I'm learning sign language. Okay, great. And those that were in child's pose, now you're going to join our friends with legs up the wall. So whether you have a block under your pelvis, blanket under your pelvis, nothing under your pelvis, that's fine. But we're going to just take a few breaths there. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice what you notice. We started today doing a lot of stuff on our legs, and now we're spending some time being upside down because we don't spend a lot of time in this orientation either. And just notice what you notice. How can you take in a deeper breath here? How can you let go of a deeper breath here? Okay, since most of us are at a wall, you may choose to do this, you may choose not to do this. You choose based upon you. You might start to draw the soles of your feet together and let your knees open wide for Supta Baddha Konasana at the wall. And you just feel how that feels. That's a fun variation there, Sandy. And you just pause and you breathe. Some of you might continue to stay here. Some of you might want to explore what it feels like to straighten and open both legs out. Again, being mindful of how your space is with you today. Robin, I'm curious, how is that asymmetry on your body? Does that feel okay? When you're ready, you're going to gently come out of this, returning back to both legs together in the chest, maybe giving yourself a little hug, maybe rocking, maybe not. And gently you'll make your way back onto a side and then rolling up to sit. And if you moved your mat, you might want to remove your mat back to wherever you had it. And I guess computer too. And then when you find yourself back in the center of your space, you'll find yourself on your back. So Robin and Julie, you can probably stay exactly where you are. When you find yourself on your back, you'll separate your feet about hip distance or outer hip distance apart. You'll let your knees fall in towards each other and you'll wrap your arms around your torso. And you just take a few breaths here. By few, I should say 5. So you'll take 5 deep breaths here. And there's nothing to do other than breathe. So see if you can really allow yourself to breathe here. After you've taken 5 breaths here, you'll notice whichever arm is on top, and then inhale, open your arms out to the right and to the left. And then exhale, switch whichever arm is on top. And then again, just take 5 deep breaths. And the intention is just to try to get quiet, just to try to get still. I heard something recently that I thought was kind of fascinating. The gist of it was, I think this was said by Oprah, surprisingly, of all things. She was talking to Melinda Gates on her new podcast or YouTube thing or whatever it is. She said that our wisdom comes to us as we get older, but it comes to us in a whisper. And again, like that whole idea of us slowing down so we can see the impact of things, we sometimes have to get really quiet so we can hear and experience the true impact of things so we know how we want to go forward. So as you're here for these last few moments and last few breaths, I invite you to notice what your inner deep voice, sense of self is whispering to you of what you might need in this moment. Some of you might feel like a few gentle twists would be nice. Some of you might want to do a happy baby. Some of you might want to stay exactly where you are. But just listen to that inner whisper, and go ahead and respond and do whatever it's asking of you in this moment. And if you've done something asymmetrical, I do encourage you to visit the other side. And then once you feel complete, there is no rush, but when you feel complete, make your way to your final resting pose. And those of you that have already made your way to your final pose, make sure to take the opportunity to fidget around in whatever way is appropriate for you so that the right and the left side feel equally supported. And then we'll all end the practice with a collective series of breaths in and out. So you'll take 3 big breaths in and 3 audible breaths out, allowing yourself to just settle in. That's me, Sandy. And then when you're ready, allow the breath to fall into its involuntary rhythm. And as the breath falls into its involuntary rhythm, you notice that every time you breathe in, you say let, and every time you breathe out, you say go. Inhale, repeat, let. Exhale, repeat, go. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Continue on your own for a few more moments, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. If there's any part of you longing to linger here, by all means, please stay here. When you are ready to move on, allow movement to enter your physical form in a gentle way. Those in stillness, stay as long as you'd like. Those in movement, start to make your way to one of your sides. Those on your sides, roll your chest more towards the floor. Press into your top hand and start to bring your spine up to vertical. When you are vertical, I encourage you to sit on something, whether it's a block or a blanket or a pillow. Take the opportunity to sit well. So if you need to remove flesh from underneath your sit bones, go ahead and do that. If you feel like you need to roll shoulders or circle the neck a little bit, do that. And then when you feel like you can come to center, you'll notice what it feels like to really stack all of the vertebrae up, to allow the shoulder blades to slide down the back so the heart space stays open, to allow the head to rest neutral at the top of the spine, to relax your jaw so your mandible releases away from the skull. Relax the root of your tongue, rest the eyes and the sockets, rest the eyelids and the forehead. And then we'll just take 3 breaths here, softening any tension around the chest, the ribs, or the abdomen. And as you're here for these last few breaths, I invite you to bring your awareness to the tips of your nostrils and just gently allow the mental energy to rest there as you watch the breath enter the body. And then as the breath exits the body, the abdomen lightly draws in and up. Inhale, you watch the breath pass through the nostrils. It slides down the back of the throat and fills the thoracic cavity with breath. And then as you exhale, the navel gently comes to the spine and empties the breath out. Whenever the mind wanders, you just bring it back to watching the breath enter the body, slide down the back of the throat, fill the torso, and then exhaling, emptying the breath from the abdomen. Very gently release the technique and just take 3 exhales out. Guide your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Receive the weight of the thumbs into your sternum. Allow the sternum to press back into the thumbs. Soften your chin and exhale all the breath out. We'll complete with 1 collective breath, followed by 1 collective Om. Inhale here. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join as you'd like. Om. Om. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. The light and the breath and the presence within me, that whisper within me, honors and salutes the light, the breath, the presence, and the whisper within each of you. Namaste.